Last year, I made over $100,000 just on Upwork, and I want to tell you how I did it. I'm Joy Yule from Hire a Writer. I help people like you excel as a professional copywriter, and Upwork is a great place to do it. Subscribe to my channel, get on our email list at my agency, Hire a Writer, and let's dive into how Upwork can be the way you build your career. First of all, as you watch me explain how I made money on Upwork, I want to make sure you remember that I don't know you. I don't know your skill level, and I don't know what you're bringing to the table. Your strategy may be different from mine, but I do believe that there are some principles that I use that can help pretty much any freelancer who's trying to make a living on Upwork. So let's go ahead and approach this as though you're just getting on Upwork for the first time. I realize that most people who are interested in raising their income on Upwork have probably been trying for a while, but let's just pretend like you're just starting out for the first time, because there are some preliminary considerations that are going to set you apart and help you make more money. First is obviously you need to have a good profile picture. So I have gotten to the point now where I not only am hired on Upwork, but I also hire people on Upwork. And I can tell you right now that if you're rocking a car selfie, you're going to get skipped over by serious-minded companies. And serious-minded companies, which we'll talk about in a second, is the kind of clients that you want from Upwork. So get a professional picture, even if you just use a selfie stick and set it up in a different part of the room, get headshot dimensions, look professional. Second, a lot of people, especially in my field, which is copywriting, get on Upwork on the recommendation of gurus in the field. These gurus are going to have a lot of opinions about how you should price yourself, and I'm going to tell you right now, your pricing, especially if you're newer, is going to be prohibitive to clients. Price yourself in the middle. You don't even have to get an elite Upwork subscription, which will tell you what people are bidding for certain jobs. Just do a little research and go and look at the kinds of freelancers who you would be competing against for jobs, how they're pricing themselves, and price yourself somewhere in the middle. Because I'm going to tell you right now, getting successful on Upwork to begin, meaning in your first 2 years, is a volume game. You do not want to have 6 jobs. If you have 5 to 6 jobs on Upwork, you will not make a lot of money fast. Unless those jobs are exorbitant, I'm going to tell you that's the minority. So you want to make sure that your pricing makes you accessible to as many people as possible. So let's start talking about volume. I am not kidding you when I say that people don't apply to enough jobs on Upwork. They think they have really high criteria to say, I want to make this much per word, I want to make this much per hour, and they don't bother with the rest. Like I said before, if volume is your friend when it comes to getting started on Upwork and becoming to be known on Upwork, because the more successful jobs you complete, the higher your job completion success rate goes. I'm not sure if I said that right, but you know what I mean. Also, the more jobs you complete, the more positive reviews you get, right? These are all criteria that people use when they're hiring you. So if you're getting your first, second, third jobs on Upwork, you got to keep that ball rolling. Gather a lot of experience as fast as possible if you want to be able to increase your rates, you want to be able to get more experience, and you want to have more street cred on the platform. I also suspect, although this is not publicly published anywhere, I suspect that the Upwork algorithm functions similar to social media algorithms, which is a pay to play. Meaning the longer you're on the platform, the more you are interacting on the platform, the more you're using Upwork, the more visible you'll probably be when people are searching for freelancers with skills like yours. This is another reason you don't want to just get people off Upwork. In addition to the fact that it's sleazy and you shouldn't do it, if somebody hires you on Upwork, they should pay you on Upwork, all right? This is what you owe to the platform. A lot of people's objection is, I don't want Upwork to take that percent. But I'm going to tell you right now, as somebody who became very successful on Upwork and now is successful not on Upwork, the amount of money and time and effort it costs to generate the leads, the quality and quantity of leads that Upwork is going to give you is worth their cut. So give them their cut. Don't try to get off Upwork. Not only will you shoot yourself in the foot, potentially getting into trouble by not using the platform the right way, you'll lose your ability and access to all of those leads. You undercut the strength of your profile because you're not building body of work and clients and things like that on the platform itself. Use the platform the way it was designed and you will grow faster. The second volume thing I want to talk about is just simply how many jobs you're applying to and how many jobs you're doing. When I first got really serious about Upwork 2 years ago, I would apply, I am not kidding you, 30 to 50 jobs a day. If I saw it and it required writing, I would apply to it. Okay. Get used to applying for a lot of jobs. I have worked with freelancers before who send me these cover letters when they're trying for me to hire them on Upwork. And I'm going to tell you right now, people aren't reading this. I do have a blog on Upwork cover letters that you should read that kind of tells you from the mentality of somebody hiring, here's what we want to see, right? Don't get in the weeds. You need to be churning out applications. Think of it as your full-time job until you get full-time work, okay? You are applying to as many jobs as possible, which is another reason why you cannot go in with crazy high financial standards until you have a crazy impressive body of work, okay? So there's a little bit of humility in this. Apply to as many jobs as possible, get as much experience as possible, and to be clear, a lot of people will be like, okay, but Upwork is abusive. Okay, but Upwork wants to try it. They want to charge me, they only want to pay me 3 cents a word, this and that. I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't have a portfolio of work, you're going to have to do some work for really low rates in order to build your body of work, okay? There are other reasons to take work than just what that individual job pays. And as you're building your career on Upwork, you're going to take lower paying jobs simply to get a body of work that shows people who are willing to pay you more what you work like and what you're worth, okay? So think volume. Think about applying to as many jobs as possible and then being willing to really, really work hard. The harder you work, the faster you will grow, okay? And then eventually you'll get to the point where you can command the rate that you want, but you have to earn it, okay? You'll earn it faster the more work you do. Apply to a ton of jobs. One way to get faster when you're applying for jobs is to kind of have a boilerplate pitch. So I have the article on Upwork cover letters, but I'll just say to you, there's basically, anytime I apply to a job on Upwork, I pretty much say 3 things, right? I'll immediately introduce myself and give some kind of context. Who am I and why should they care, right? The second is I want to qualify to them how I am uniquely suited for the job they are providing. This is another reason that it's important to work a lot, because the more kinds of experience you have, the more suited you are for jobs, and you have immediate examples to show people that, right? So at this point in my career, because I'm a generalist copywriter, if I get a commercial real estate industry, bam, I have an example of that because I've done it, right? I can have somebody in the food industry, bam, I've done it. Engineering, got it. OEMs, got it. Manufacturing, right? Like, I have done so many different kinds of things because I've been willing to say yes to so many different kinds of work that second part of my cover letter is really compelling because it is an example that I have picked specifically for that job, right? So yes, I have my general portfolio that is external on my website that I send people to. Good, yes, have it. Prove your work, right? But I also have a specific example to that job, which, to be candid with you, is probably the only one they're going to look at, okay? Because they want to know something really relevant really fast. That sets you up into the 10% of applicants right away if you have a relevant topical example. And then the third is I see something about my attitude or approach or work style that's going to kind of make them understand that it would be a pleasure, a joy, if you will, to work with me personally, right? So I'm super easy to work with, or I'm really communicative, or I'm professional. So pick a trait that is true of who you are and use it to describe yourself as like the third thing in that cover letter to kind of tip you over the edge. So what you need to do is kind of perfect that pitch. What are those 3 things? Adapt them, absolutely. But if I see one of you guys write a "Dear Hiring Manager," come on. You're not going to succeed, right? You have to be human, you have to be personable, and you have to be as relevant and concise as possible as you're pitching yourself to potential clients on Upwork. Okay, so we talked about volume, and volume is very important. You need to apply to a lot of jobs, and you need to work a lot. Let's talk about speed. The first speed metric that I have done really well on Upwork is responding fast. So when I'm hungry for work, I make it clear. I am ready now. Right? Not aggressively, but hey, I'm here, I'm available, ready to start whenever you are. I always submit something early, always, okay? So if it's due Thursday, it gets into their inbox Wednesday because it just shows them that I am serious about doing a great job, okay? Make sure that when they ask you questions, you get back to them, respond to them. This does mean that you need to be on your email a lot and you need to be logged into Upwork a lot. But the good news is if you're building your career and you're doing all of these high volume plays with, jobs and job applications, you're already going to be on Upwork a lot. Okay, so you're already there. So make sure that you respond as quickly as possible. Pay attention when you pitch to people what time zone they're in. I have done often where I have gotten up at 3 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning to start work because I knew that my clients over in Europe were going to be responding to me and want an answer. Okay, so think strategically about how you are going above and beyond to serve those people, because Every customer you get on Upwork is worth more than what they are hiring you for. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you go into Upwork and you think this is a temporary job that I'm going to get a little bit of money for, you will not be super successful on Upwork. You won't be super successful as a freelancer in your career. You need to see every client as an opportunity. And I can tell you testimonially, right, in my own experience, any client on Upwork, I would say 90 to 95% of them that I have wanted to continue to work for, I still work for to this day, because I have segued my initial success of going above and beyond, of being the best freelancer, the best writer, the best communicator, bringing ideas for free, going the extra mile. I have done all of that really well to the point where they're like, we can't lose this person, right? And then I become part of their team. I become somebody who's on their side. And then they will listen to me when I cross-sell them, which is what I'll talk about next. Not viewing clients as temporary means that you are going to take more time to get to know that client. I don't care if they're hiring you for one email. You go Google them. You look at their website. You pay attention to how they're positioning themselves. You pay attention to who they're trying to be in the marketplace. Because when you do that, you start to embed yourself into the culture of their company. Because your goal as a freelancer is not, I hope, just to do one-offs. Because if you do one-offs, you're gonna kill yourself. Like, you're gonna be so overwhelmed with work all the time because you're always learning something new. The goal is to take these clients that you earn on Upwork and continue to work for them, continue to help them build their business. And if you can become that kind of entity in the situation, then they're going to be open when you finish the initial engagement to hear what else you can do, right? They're going to want to know because they like you. They want you to be on their team. So think about it. You don't view these clients as temporary. You do your due diligence, you knock it out of the park, and then always be ready. When I submit something to a client on Upwork, especially if it's a new client, not only do I invite them to continue to edit, to continue to engage, right? I offer, you know what else we could do, right? And I do it as I've already built this relationship with them. They like me. They know that I'm on their side. And then I do the pitch. And ultimately what it is it's a cross-sell, right? So I'm selling them something else. If I wrote you a blog, I say, you know what, we could add a social post to that and I could do it for free this time, but if we want to bundle that into the next one, right? So I'm making a sales assumption that this went well. You're going to want to do this again. When you do it again, let's add this. So suddenly I've become not just a one-off freelancer, I've become a valuable member of their team who's bringing ideas to them of how to enrich their product. Think about how you're going to continue the relationship and start that process as you submit the first thing that you send to them. And to that end, I think it's really important that if you're going to succeed on Upwork, you get a real thick skin real fast. Okay, so especially if you are like me in a creative profession, you are encountering new people that you haven't done extensive work for. You need to be very flexible. You need to be flexible if they change their mind. You need to be flexible if they decide they want something different than they initially wanted. You need to be flexible if they edit you a lot. Think about how you can be easy to work with. To that end, I just want to offer a personality thing, okay? So part of the reason I've been able to do really well on Upwork is because I am good at sales. I'm good at selling myself. I'm good at what I do. I'm also just good at being a friendly person, right? People want to work with nice people who are good at what they do. So if you become picky throughout the process, or you become particular, or you push back, or it's clear your feelings are hurt, or you have some kind of anything negative that happens, you are disposable to them, right? They don't need you as much as you need them. And in the beginning, you need that power balance to be clear. You need to defer to it with graciousness and be like, but ultimately it's your decision. But ultimately it's up to you. But ultimately you're the boss, right? And you can tell as you go into a sales conversation with somebody in the very early days, what they need from you, right? Not just what they need from you in a deliverable, but what they need from you as a person. How can you truly be useful to them? If you approach it that way, they're going to be able to tell. If all you want is to overcharge them for a website and then get out of Dodge, they can tell, right? You will not become super successful that way, not in the long run. You may be short-term, okay? You can make your first few $100,000 on Upwork for a couple of years. Eventually, though, people will be able to tell. The reviews will get worse. You will begin to be pursued less, right? People want to work with good people. And in the long run, they're going to work with people they like. So think about how you can not just ingratiate yourself to get something, but how you can truly be a good person who's there to help them, and to be enthusiastic about building their brand. All right, the last two things I'll say is you need to start creating processes for yourself. So for instance, if you're a blog writer, let's just use that because I'm a copywriter. So if as a blog writer, one of the earliest things I did was figured out a blog template. And it was just for my own purposes. I didn't have anybody else working for me. I just had my own template that I was like, every time I work with a client that I've never worked with before on Upwork, these are the things I need to know from them. And these are the things I need to give them, right? So I'm a big fan of over deliver. So I already talked about how you should deliver things early, always, if you can, if at all possible, deliver things early. You should also, as much as possible, deliver something extra. And so the blog template kind of became the extra thing that I delivered. So if I was being hired to do an SEO blog, I would write the SEO blog really well. I would have all the interlinks and the keywords and things like that. But I had a table in my template that summarized that information at the top. So it became a real like show your work moment where it gave them all of this proof that like, holy cow, not only is this girl good with words and understands marketing and all of that, she understands SEO to this degree, where she can research this kind of stuff and then show it to us, okay? What that did automatically was it gave them an indicator of my additional skills, which made me more marketable, which made me more hireable for other jobs, right? With that client. So it's important to think about how you're building processes. So there's that where it helps you come off a certain way to a client. It exhibits some professionalism, but it also helps you do things faster. So we talked about volume. We talked about taking lots of jobs for lots of different reasons, which is both things are important, but you only have so many hours in a day, right? So if you don't get faster at what you do, and you don't get more efficient, and it still takes you, 4 hours to write a blog or something crazy like that, it's a problem, right? That right there is an income limitation because you can only work so many hours in a day before you have to sleep and eat and take care of your kids and do the other things you have to do in life, right? So the faster you get, the more money you will make. And so building processes is the way to get faster. So I would just suggest figure out whatever skill it is that you are selling, build a process around it, and it will make it faster for you to deliver things to clients. Okay, and then the last thing I will say is, when it comes to succeeding on Upwork, yes, be human, yes, be ambitious, yes, be, high volume, high producer, high performer. You also have to keep your pipeline going. Like any sales endeavor, you cannot assume the work you have is the work you will always have, okay? Even if clients love you, they run out of budget. Even if clients love you, the project ends, right? You need to say yes more than you say no as much as possible. And you need to really think, am I limiting my ability to earn because I'm not willing to work harder? I know this is an unpopular opinion. I do, because I have people all the time who are like, well, that's hustle culture. And I'm like, right. But if you want to make it at the beginning, there is a season of working harder than anybody else. And I will tell you a personal story, and I don't want you to take it the wrong way and be like, well, this is what I should do, because not everybody is comfortable doing this. For some people, this would ruin your life, okay? But when I got really serious on Upwork 2 years ago, I was applying to 30 to 50 jobs a day. I was doing interviews all the time. I was working for in some cases, I was working for 3 to 5 cents a word, okay? And I made 6 figures. So let's just take a minute and think about that when you're demanding really high word per word rates. I would work all day, and then I would be with my kids. Okay, so I would work from 5 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, 12 hours. And then I would be with my kids through the evening until they went to bed around 8. And then I would usually work for about 2 hours again. And then sometimes I would wake up at 3 and work again. I could work between 12 to 16, sometimes 18 hours a day. And I did that for several months to learn how the freelance world worked. It wasn't for me just about money. It was about, I want to understand how this world of freelance, because I came from the corporate world, so I wasn't super familiar with how freelancing worked, but I wanted to do it and I wanted to be good at it. I'm a driven person. I was ambitious, right? And I wanted to figure it all out. I did. I figured it all out, and I I truncated a lot of longer term learnings into a shorter period of time because I was willing to work that hard. I don't say that to you to be this is what you have to do to make it on Upwork. But what I do say to you is you have to be serious minded about this, not just as something you can do on the side. Some people do freelancing on the side. Fine. You're probably not going to make 6 figures if you do freelancing on the side unless you are a really well-established professional with an exceptional skill. Okay. More likely, you're going to do that. You're going to make a negligible amount of income, and then you're going to, complain about the fact that Upwork takes a cut. Instead, look at Upwork as what it is. It is a freelance mecca. And you can get on there, you can make a really significant income, you can make a name for yourself, you can establish a reputation, you can build processes, you can make this your career. And it can be a really high earning career no matter where you are in the world. And that's one of the coolest things about Upwork, is it levels the playing field globally. That also means you're competing against global people who are willing to charge a lot less than you, maybe if you're in the US based. It means that you're working against people who are passionate and willing to work very hard. If you're going to compete on Upwork, if you're going to earn great money on Upwork, you need to take it seriously. You need to think how to build an actual career. It is possible, and I think that Upwork is a great place to do it. If you're a copywriter, if you are a skilled creative professional, subscribe to my channel. Go to my blog. We have a whole career section on the blog that kind of talks about how to build a copywriting career. Everything from like how to interview, how to write cover letters, how to structure your portfolio, right? Like all the questions that we've learned along the way as a group of freelancers, which is what my company, Hire a Writer, is. If you are an ambitious writer, I do wish you all the best. It is the most fulfilling career in the world. You get to learn so many things, meet so many wonderful people, have a great attitude, do your best, work hard, don't be afraid of it, and go for it.